Colin Dorian, age 28. Max Burleson Cronin, age 27. Gloria McConnell, age 60. Paul Fitzpatrick, age 54. Jessica Starr, age 35. These are just a few of the staggeringly large numbers of victims who have taken their own lives after enduring years of indescribable pain and suffering caused by a surgery that promised to change their lives for the better. But despite being advertised with glowing success stories and backed by doctors as completely safe, laser eye surgery has continued to leave a trail of ruined lives in its wake. And as victims continue to speak up, many begin to suspect an industry-wide cover-up that must be brought to light. There are multiple forms of laser eye surgery, but the three common ones appearing in today's stories are LASIK, PRK, and SMILE. All you need to know is, LASIK and SMILE both create an incision in the cornea which does have possible risks of the flap dislodging, but SMILE has a lower risk due to the smaller incisions made. PRK, on the other hand, removes the cornea entirely so it can grow back naturally, making this the longest recovery time of the three, but the best choice for those with active lifestyles, as there's no flap at risk of dislodging. Depending on the thickness of your cornea and eye condition, certain surgeries are better suited for you. It might look obvious that PRK seems the safest out of all three, so why even bother with the other two? PRK has the longest wait time. SMILE's recovery time comes close to LASIK, but it's the newest surgery out of all three, which may concern patients. LASIK, on the other hand, remains the most popular choice due to its long track record and quick recovery time. Not to mention, it's also been popularized by celebrities who've had the operation, like Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, and Brad Pitt. As for price, no matter which surgery, they typically range between $1,000 to $4,000 per eye, and since these are considered elective surgeries, they are not typically covered by insurance. Now, it's not just elective surgeries that can put a strain on your wallet. Everyday living expenses are skyrocketing too. So, if you're looking to make money and have some downtime, you've got to check out today's sponsor, FreeCash, an online platform with a 4.7-star rating on Trustpilot. It's free to sign up, and you can make money just by playing mobile games. It's super easy. After signing up, FreeCash will give you a list of mobile games to choose from. You just need to enable app tracking to reward your progress, and then you can cash out your earnings straight to your PayPal account. We logged in, got an offer for a game called Garden Joy, played until we reached level 18, and then transferred money straight into our PayPal account. If you're curious about FreeCash, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. That'll give you access to the platform, plus a $5 bonus on your first offer. Depending on where you live, the interface might look a bit different, but the process works the same. So if you want to get free cash, sign up and play games today. And if you're still thinking about laser eye surgery, well, surgery is not all it can cost you. See, while PRK and SMILE might be advertised as safer alternatives to LASIK,
with LASIK, that cut on your eye will never fully heal. And if something happens, like you get punched in the face, that flap can come undone.
all of these surgeries come with risks that don't exactly leave patients with glowing testimonies.
I don't recommend LASIK, ever.
So, would I recommend laser eye surgery? No.
Do not do LASIK or any form of laser eye surgery.
Of course, within the recovery period, side effects are to be expected. For example, dry eyes, blurred vision, and visual phenomena like halos and starbursts that emit from light sources are totally normal. The problem arises when their issues extend beyond a few months.
Well, it's been 5 years, and here's what the starbursts look like in my left eye and in my right eye.
Yes, years down the line, a number of laser eye patients are still plagued with post-op complications, one of the most intolerable being chronically dry eyes.
It's when you go to the beach and you feel the sand in your eye, or when you have an eyelash stuck in your eye, and then you rinse it off and then the pain is gone, but it's very painful. So imagine having that, but having nothing to be able to take care of that pain.
It's super sensitive to light. Like, I can barely keep it open. It's teary, it hurts. I feel like there's sandpaper in my eye because it's that. dry.
By this point, I felt like I had somebody just digging their fist into my eye socket, pinching my nose, and setting fire to my other eye, all at the same time.
And the issues don't stop here. Eyesight can continue to deteriorate after these operations, leading to further complications like corneal ectasia that causes the eyes to thin and bulge.
And if they thin too much and you don't treat it, you could go blind.
Capillary non-perfusion, which causes blood to no longer flow to the retina.
And I live now with constant shooting pain, and I am not able to live without pain medication.
Or various other conditions with equally frightening symptoms and risks.
I will likely need to either have a corneal transplant soon, or I could go blind because I have multiple diagnoses that cause degenerative corneal damage.
That can force former patients into making devastating decisions.
To make a long story short, over the next 5 years, I had 5 different retinal detachment surgeries. On the 5th surgery, I had a choroidal hemorrhage, which caused me to go blind in my right eye. I did decide to finally have the eye removed and went to Barnes Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri.
However, it's not just the patients that suffer in these scenarios, but their bank accounts. Yep, on top of an already costly operation, any complications after the procedure often means you have to pay out of pocket for treatments.
I have spent $5,000 in treatment since then, and nothing has helped to alleviate my symptoms.
I spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to find some type of relief or fix for these issues, and there has been little that has helped.
Up until now, I have not found a solution for this problem, and I spent over $20,000 in the past 4 years.
And with their days dedicated to treating their once healthy eyes,
I need drops about 25 times a day. I cannot drive at night. I cannot go out in the sun or in the wind.
it appears quality of life is just another unadvertised expense of these operations. And that's something one former LASIK patient knows all too well. In April, TikTok user Hayden posted about his laser eye experience, or rather, nightmare. However, at the beginning, he had no inclination of how wrong things would go. After all, according to what his doctor said during his consultation, he was the ideal candidate.
He said that I was the perfect person for the surgery. I could have whatever procedure I wanted. I was young, I was healthy, my corneas looked good, no signs of dry eye.
Hayden took what the surgeon told him at face value. Still, doing his due diligence, he asked about complications. The doctor allegedly named 3.
Which of course I later found out to be way more.
Hayden, however, was reassured that less than 1% of patients experienced these issues. And so, on May 12, 2023, at the age of 21, Hayden underwent LASIK, an operation that initially appeared to have gone perfectly. The next day, his vision had already improved, and as he followed the post-op instructions that included using eye drops and sleep goggles, it seemed Hayden had firmly established himself as one of the many laser eye success stories. But then, Hayden began to notice something troubling. His eyes, which were meant to be healing, weren't. The temporary post-op visual side effects and the burning sensation had lingered, and at his 2-month post-op appointment, he expressed his concern. The team at the clinic, however, didn't seem worried.
The entire time it just felt like my surgeon and the nurse and everybody who walked in the room just was gaslighting me and telling me that, you know, you were gonna heal, like we're really optimistic that you're gonna love your results.
According to Hayden, despite the side effects he was experiencing, he was still labeled as having no complications because his complaints weren't considered to meet the criteria. Yet at another follow-up appointment, there was something that concerned his surgeon, Hayden's large pupil size.
And he hands me a bottle of bromonidine, which is a pupil shrinking agent. Well, that's like a side effect of it. It's actually a glaucoma medication with preservatives in it. So it's not safe.
The surgeon explained that Hayden's pupils were dilating past the optical zone he put in his eye, something the TikTok user was already aware of.
I've been doing so much research, learning way too much about LASIK and the industry and everything, and I would continue to keep researching. so I wouldn't be gaslit.
Hayden claimed he later found out that the team had guessed his pupil size at 5 millimeters in the light and 7 millimeters in dim light. They later changed this to 7 and 8. However, according to Duke, they were closer to 9. And despite the medication he was given, Hayden's pain continued. His vision deteriorated as his complications continued and new issues became apparent, including floaters, which are shapes that appear in your field of vision. Soon enough, Hayden became haunted by his decision to have the operation.
I sunk into a deep, dark depression, was suicidal, and just, I mean, in and out of the hospital for pain, therapy, specially made eye drops, driving across states to go see eye doctors. I mean, I had seen probably 20 doctors at this point, all of the unaffiliated with LASIK ones completely just refuted what my surgeon and my clinic had told me.
It turned out there was evidence that pupil size mattered in LASIK candidates, with studies showing that patients with larger pupils are more at risk of developing complications involving night vision and glare, which could affect their candidacy for the operation. As for the floaters, well, according to Hayden's surgeon, these had always been in the patient's eye. He just hadn't been able to see them with his poor vision. Hayden, however, deduced that this was false.
Floaters are moving around in the back of the eye in what's called the vitreous, and you can wear glasses or contacts and see them if you have them. So that was a lie. Pupil size was a lie.
Because of his doctor's alleged negligence, Hayden was left to clean up the mess.
I go on this long journey of doctor after doctor, medication, drops, supplements, acupuncture. I mean, everything you can think of, I've tried it.
And when Hayden said everything, he meant it.
Amniotic membrane contact lenses, which, yes, are made with placenta.
Yet the pain never ceased. And so, with no miracle cure or time machine at his disposal, Hayden did the one thing that was still in his power. He sought legal action. Yes, the former LASIK patient hired a lawyer, performed his own research, and spoke to doctors who opposed the surgery, all of which he could now talk openly about since his case was dropped.
It's just wild to me that they found another LASIK surgeon to testify that everything my LASIK surgeon said was true, and that pupil size didn't matter when my literal surgeon gave me a pupil shrinking eye drop to fix my problems. Another LASIK surgeon to testify that floaters weren't caused by the surgery, I just couldn't see them. And for the chronic pain, the other LASIK surgeon that they found to testify said, quote, "Chronic pain and nerve damage is an unfortunate but known complication of laser eye surgery."
And with that, all Hayden was left with were the irreversible complications of his laser eye surgery and an overarching impression of the industry that allowed this to happen.
So all of these surgeons will or have, they will mess up someone's life. They will destroy someone's vision for money.
But Hayden's wasn't the only LASIK nightmare to make headlines. In 2023, Erin Orchard's post-op complications were the subject of several articles after LASIK took her from an excellent physical and mental state to someone she didn't recognize. But it wasn't just that Erin had complications that made her story stand out. It was that this horror story happened to be a bride-to-be. Yes, Erin had LASIK because she wanted to walk down the aisle without lenses. Still, she was worried about the operation. Her doctor, however, offered a remedy for these nerves: a drink before the surgery, advice that, in hindsight, may have been indicative of the surgeon's work. On the day of the operation, Erin experienced a panic attack during the surgery. She asked for the surgeon to stop. Instead, a staff member held her down as the operation continued. "I left the clinic, still quite shaken," she told BuzzFeed. "My partner said he had heard what sounded like cries coming from the operating room, but didn't go in because he was scared that by interrupting the procedure, he would put my health at risk." 48 hours later, the pain started. A sensation that was described by Erin as excruciating. "My eyes felt as though they were burning and someone was pushing small shards of glass into them. It hurt even to blink, and simple occurrences such as a small gust of wind would cause me to fall to the ground in blinding pain," she told BuzzFeed. "I was also experiencing significant light sensitivity, which led to my partner having to cover up the windows in our apartment. When the pain became unbearable, she scheduled an appointment with the surgeon who, according to Erin, didn't display the utmost professionalism.
My laser eye surgeon made a decision to consume alcohol both before and during a medical consultation with me when I was desperate and in pain and in need of help.
This led to Erin making a complaint with the Medical Council of New South Wales, despite the doctor allegedly telling her multiple times during the appointment not to report him. However, according to Erin, the board decided not to reprimand him as long as he didn't repeat his behavior. I've appealed this outcome, but am still waiting to hear back. I don't want to get my hopes up again, Erin told BuzzFeed. But where did that leave Erin? Well, despite toying with the idea of canceling the wedding, the event went ahead as planned. To help her enjoy the big day, a team of physicians gave her various medications that meant while she still experienced significant pain, she was able to appreciate the festivities. Eventually, Erin was diagnosed with bilateral post-laser corneal neuralgia, a condition caused by cornea nerve damage that leads to pain in the eyes and face.
The left side of my face is more painful because that's where the worst nerve damage is. The pain right now is quite a sharp shooting pain around my eye region. There's also a burning and aching sensation. I wish I was better at describing this, but right now I can't even think properly.
Due to this pain, Erin couldn't work full-time or volunteer and had to put her dreams of starting a family on hold. Even her desire to go glasses-free was kiboshed as the botched surgery meant she had to wear protective eyewear for her nerve damage. And forced to navigate a new reality of limitations and chronic pain, it wasn't long before Erin was diagnosed with PTSD and depression.
I feel burnt out because I am tired of waking up every day in pain. I think at the start of all of this, I had so much hope still. I still thought that a doctor would appear and they would figure it all out and I'd be better, and I didn't let myself think that this could possibly be forever.
In a TikTok captioned, "I would do anything to go back in time," Erin shared photos and footage of her recovery process, which appeared to involve numerous treatments and, more than anything, tears. But unfortunately, despite the $40,000 to $50,000 Erin spent on treatment, on top of the $6,500 LASIK surgery, this was forever. And while she continued to treat her condition, including administering eye drops, made of her own blood.
Don't worry, this treatment was recommended by my amazing ophthalmologist and was made possible by Red Cross and my local public hospital.
What had happened during the operation in 2019 was irreversible. Meanwhile, doctor appointments, a Christmas day spent in the hospital, and a precarious financial position were her future. In a TikTok from January, Erin wrote, "Thinking about how this time 5 years ago I underwent laser eye surgery, and now I live every day in pain so intense that it would compel most people to seek emergency medical care." And Erin wasn't alone. In her comment section, various viewers voiced similar stories of LASIK destroying the limited vision they had and leaving them with no hope of relief. Understandably, prognoses like these can lead former laser eye patients down some dark paths. Fox 2 News meteorologist Jessica Starr had it all: the husband, the kids, and the thriving career.
It is going to be chilly out there this morning, but the positive side of today's forecast is it's going to be bright. We're going to have lots of sunshine.
She just needed one more thing: the sight. So, after 23 years of switching between contact lenses and glasses, on October 11, 2018, she underwent laser eye surgery to correct her vision. Drawn to the minimal recovery time of 5 days, Jessica had chosen the SMILE procedure so she could return to work ASAP. However, according to her husband Dan Rose, post-op, the meteorologist knew something wasn't right. Jessica was very in tune with her body, he told Today. Within 3 or 4 days after the procedure, she started saying stuff like, "I think something went wrong. I don't feel right." The surgery had left the meteorologist with blurred vision, which she had to use eye drops every 5 minutes to correct. Returning to work on November 13th revealed further side effects. On the dark morning drive, her vision was obstructed with halos and starbursts emitted from cars and traffic lights, and the bright lights in the Fox News studio did nothing to decrease her sensitivity, a job that had once brought Jessica so much joy.
This is why meteorologists don't wear green. It's why we're not allowed. It's the one color that we can't wear.
Was now a source of pain, both physically and emotionally.
I am struggling a little bit, so I do still need all the prayers and the well wishes because this is a hard go. The doctor said it could take up to 3 months or so before I feel like 100% again. Do you have any tips or input on any of that kind of stuff? Let me know. I'd appreciate it because I'm trying to stay strong and get through this recovery.
Her husband told Today she was a very tough individual, but she came home after the first day, fell into my arms, and just started crying. Soon, what was supposed to be a brief recovery was extended as Jessica announced in a Facebook post that she would be taking further time off to recover, writing, "Update, yesterday was a struggle for me. I really wanted to come back, but I need more time to recover. Please keep me in your thoughts during this challenging time. We'll keep you updated." But despite the brave face Jessica put on, it was clear she regretted the procedure.
I'm really mad at myself for doing this. I don't know why. I was fine in contacts. Glasses weren't that big of a deal. It was fine.
And her family could see the toll it was taking.
Lost like 25, 26 pounds, and I kept saying, "Are you eating? Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm not eating and I'm not sleeping, Mom. This is worrying me. I don't think it's going to get better."
Jessica visited 5 different ophthalmologists for second opinions. She then saw a corneal specialist who echoed their statements. She just needed more time to recover. But as it turned out, Jessica didn't have more time. Just days later, on December 12th, 2020, the meteorologist took her own life, to the shock of both her colleagues.
Bear with us. Today and the next few days are going to be tough getting through the newscast without her.
And her peers.
She was strong and down to earth and real. She was a good friend. That was my girl. She will be missed. It's a hard day.
Jessica's husband, however, believed he understood why his wife had taken her own life at 35. "If anyone would have told me or her family and said she was capable of hurting herself, I wouldn't have believed you," Dan said. "Without a doubt in my mind, something related to this procedure triggered this. For whatever reason, she thought this was the only way out. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that." On top of the note she left behind, Dan also found her diary, which further detailed her struggles. She wrote that because of the loss of vision, "I can't be a mom, I can't be a wife, I can't work. I've lost every aspect of my life," he said. She wrote that she was fine wearing contacts, and this was something she didn't need to do. "I think this procedure sent her into such a dark space." Since her passing, Jessica's husband has been reached out to by dozens of former Smile patients who are still dealing with complications years down the line. "I don't want to shut the procedure down," he told Today. "I'm not trying to be that much of a crusader, but people need to do their homework. They need to be comfortable with their doctor, and I would like to see the follow-up care for this procedure change." And while many ophthalmologists were hesitant to blame the operation for Jessica's passing,
I think suicide is a tragic, multi-factor mental health issue. I don't know if it can all be summed up to one cause.
one of the key figures behind approving LASIK in the US had a disturbing perspective. Former FDA advisor Dr. Morris Waxler has described laser eye surgery as one big scam and advocates for the operation to be banned due to the risk of complications.
What would you say to someone considering LASIK eye surgery?
There's absolutely no reason to do it. You're just looking for trouble.
Regarding Jessica's passing, he told Daily Mail Online, "They've called it a suicide, but basically the refractive surgeons with the FDA's help killed her. The FDA prepared the noose and the surgeons used it." And the death toll of laser eye surgery doesn't stop at Jessica's star. The website LASIKcomplications.com, which acts as a database for laser eye gone wrong stories, is dedicated to 2 men who took their lives following complications from the operation. 27-year-old veteran Max Burleson Cronin and 28-year-old Colin Dorian. In an interview with ABC 7, Max's mother described the pain her son was in following laser eye surgery.
First, he had severe pain. He felt like needles were continuously being poking inside his eyes. By the time he was 4 months after this procedure, he became legally blind.
As a result, Max couldn't go to school, couldn't find work, even going outside was a struggle. After 10 years of living in this agony, he took his life, leaving a note that read, "Doctors destroyed my eyes and ruined my life." As for Colin, he made it 6.5 years post-op. In the note police found on his body, he made it clear about what had driven him to the extreme measure of taking his own life. "If I cannot get my eyes fixed, I'm going to end myself," he wrote. "I just cannot accept the fact that I'm supposed to live like this. I have other problems like most people do, but this is something else. As soon as my eyes went bad, I fell into a deeper depression than I had ever experienced, and I never really came out of it." Then there was 60-year-old mother Gloria McConnell, who experienced dry eyes, ingrown hairs, and eyelashes infested with mites following her 2019 LASIK procedure that 4 years later left her pretty much bedridden before taking her life. There was 54-year-old Paul Fitzpatrick, who took his life in October 2018 after going through decades of pain following his PRK surgery in 1996.
He just said, "I don't know if I could cope with this anymore, Mom." And then that night, we drove to a bridge and jumped.
And there was police officer Larry Campbell, who after LASIK surgery had a constant burning in his eyes, which led to depression.
Sometimes he didn't even want to wake up in the morning. And I asked him, like, "Dad, you would never kill yourself, right?"
He took his life on March 16, 2008, but not before leaving behind a note that read, "Do not have LASIK surgery. Tell the media. My eye surgery has taken my life out of me. The pain, distorted vision, chronic dry eye is not bearable." And how many more were among the departed? Well, according to LASIKcomplications.com, there are over 30 cases where patients took their lives following LASIK. However, since this number does not include PRK and SMILE surgeries, it is possibly much higher. Despite these horrifying statistics, experts combat this narrative that laser eye surgery is risky. A 2020 study from the Journal of Ophthalmic and Vision Research found that the suicide rate is lower among patients who have had laser refractive surgery than it is in the general population. And with 96% patient satisfaction,
it was a lot, but it was so worth it, just like a lot of things are.
And ever-improving technology,
it has been incredible in terms of the amount of precision, the safety, the efficacy that we have seen over the past 15, 16 years.
It's been suggested that the odds are in patients' favor as long as they're prepared to follow aftercare to the T.
Make sure you wear the shields at night. These are clear shields that you tape onto your face. They're especially important in the first 3 nights to prevent you accidentally rubbing your eyes in your sleep.
As even doctors who won't go through with the surgery themselves don't disqualify prospective patients from the glories of gaining 20/20 vision.
I have pretty bad issues with dry eye, and although dry eye does not disqualify you as a candidate for LASIK, LASIK doesn't exactly make dry eye better. Typically for patients, I'll personally recommend that we do an intense dry eye treatment before you go in for surgery, which reduces your risks of post-operative dry eye.
And while these surgeries come with potential complications, according to experts, they're low.
The risk of laser eye surgery is down to a very small chance of having a little bit of residual blurring or something not right with the vision that couldn't be sharpened by glasses. And that risk is, in expert hands, less than 1 in 1,000.
But then again, are statements like these genuine or a marketing tactic?
It's probably less than 1% of my patients need a touch-up. Chance of an infection is 1 in a million. I've never seen an infection from LASIK surgery, so it's rare.
After all, these surgeries are by no means flawless. For example, 1 in 10 LASIK patients will require a follow-up procedure to improve their post-op results. And even if the surgery goes well, LASIK leaves patients more at risk of retinal detachment and early cataracts. Plus, if you're over 40, laser eye surgery isn't exactly a miracle cure, as you'll still likely be dependent on reading glasses after the operation. The results also don't prevent your eyes from aging and requiring glasses later in life. And as rare as post-op complications reportedly are, do prospective patients really know what they're risking? Patients are often led to believe that laser eye surgery is foolproof, only to realize when complications arise that this was never the case. And while the medical pamphlets these clinics are meant to hand out lay out the side effects of these surgeries.
So this is actually by the people who make the laser machines. Light sensitivity is 3.2%, headaches 3.7%, dryness 33%, pain is 4%.
Despite statements from those in the field who claim every patient is informed.
Every patient should know exactly what they're getting into.
And that means?
And there is risk of serious damage to your cornea.
In person, it turns out doctors aren't so forthcoming. Yes, according to a 2011 undercover piece from the Canadian investigative program 16 to 9.
There's not really any chance of long-term things.
No.
So if that happens or there's any side effects, they eventually always go away.
They do, yeah.
A similar expose by the Dr. Oz show.
I shouldn't worry about the night vision.
And the stories we previously covered.
I asked about the complications, and he listed 3, which of course I later found out to be way more.
Transparency isn't always practiced in these consultations with prospective patients.
Your eyes are dry, yeah. And then it goes away?
Yes, it does get better.
Okay, that would never be permanent.
No, it's not permanent.
Then again, the FDA doesn't exactly have a spotless record when it comes to informing the public of the potential risks of laser eye surgery, at least not according to former FDA advisor Dr. Morris Waxler. See, back when Waxler was working for the FDA, LASIK needed an adverse event rate of 1% or less to be approved. Now, however, Waxler believes that number is closer to 20 to 30%.
Might there have been an incentive to conceal the truth or maybe even to lie in order to get this approved?
Absolutely.
Do you think that happened?
Yes, it did.
But how have the numbers been flubbed to this degree? Well, according to Waxler, this was done by calling certain side effects complications rather than adverse events.
The 1% was to include all adverse effects. It didn't say only include adverse effects that we want to include.
And that means that patients can be left with permanent burning eyes along with light sensitivity, double vision, and visual distortions and still be considered successes, medically speaking. My vision is considered 20/20 because I see the A's, B's, and C's all the way down the chart, one patient told the New York Times in 2018. But I see 3 A's, 3 B's, 3 C's. But in recent years, have there been any changes on the horizon? Since a laser advisory committee meeting in 2008, the FDA has been gathering information on LASIK risks, revealing that 46% of the 574 surveyed LASIK patients who had no visual symptoms going into the surgery had at least one complication 3 months after the surgery, such as seeing halos or dry eye. But over 95% remain satisfied with the results, despite less than 1% reporting daily difficulties without corrective lenses. Dr. Waxler, however, described the study as a farce, alleging that there were around 6,000 complaints the FDA had not listened to. One of these complaints was possibly from Dr. Nancy Burleson, an OBGYN and mother of Max Cronin, who took his life after LASIK. He wrote suicide letters stating he was killing himself due to his ruined eyes, read the complaint. It then took 13 years for the FDA to produce a draft guidance, but in 2022 it was released. Their findings outline the risks associated with the surgery, including permanent loss of vision, double vision, retinal detachment, dry eye, and pain, as well as potential risk of psychological harm. The draft gave the public until November 2022 to express their thoughts. The comments were flooded with mixed experiences. Some were pleased, praising the atmosphere at their clinic as professional and even spa-like. Others, however, were adamant that the surgery had ruined their lives and that they were not adequately informed of the risks. Among the commenters was the now deceased Gloria McConnell, who wrote plainly, "LASIK has destroyed my life." As for the response to the FDA's recommendations, there's also a divide, with the American Optometric Association in agreement the National Center of Health Research critiquing the draft as too detailed for patients to read, and the American Society of Cataract and Refractive Surgery requesting that the FDA withdraw it. And when it comes to where that leaves those who've already had laser eye surgery, well, it turns out time doesn't heal all wounds. Yes, with nerve damage being notoriously difficult to treat, for many, there's no way to undo post-op complications.
People have LASIK because they believe the advertisements. Throw away your glasses. What they don't tell you is the vision is never normal again.
And while treatment can help former patients mitigate symptoms and pain, these reliefs aren't without their own side effects.
I'm dependent on numerous medications for nerve pain, which leave me feeling groggy and tired most of the day, and also affect my short-term memory.
Still, as former patients and their loved ones continue to raise awareness about the potential dangers of laser eye surgery,
I do believe that anyone going into this must really be concerned about their life.
perhaps prospective clients will rethink whether the goal of going glasses-free is worth the risk of losing what they have.
In one sentence, tell me why you would not recommend LASIK.
Well, I wanted to because I can never get my healthy eyes back.
LASIK inherently causes harm to healthy tissues that were perfectly fine in glasses or contacts.
LASIK makes healthy eyes sick.
While there's a range of customer satisfaction when it comes to laser eye surgery, there are two clear opposing ends of the spectrum: the raging success
I am so glad that I did LASIK eye surgery. It has completely changed my life.
and the heartbreaking tragedies.
Today, it is 1 year ago that we lost our friend and colleague Jessica Starr.
So, the question becomes, are laser eye horror stories simply statistical anomalies? Or is there something insidious about the operation itself?
I'm Morris Waxler. I worked at the Food and Drug Administration for 26 years, and I'm here because I'm concerned about the dangers of LASIK surgery.
That's being covered up by those who stand to profit.
Now, there are rare complications associated with any surgery, but LASIK today is the safest, most effective procedure we have ever seen in ophthalmology.
At the expense of what patients hold dearest.
These complications include dry eye, loss of best corrected refractive power, light sensitivity, excessive glare, halos and starbursts around light sources.
Your vision is how you experience the world. And so when something happens to you that takes your vision even partly away, it definitely has an impact on your quality of life.
LASIK can lead to terrible, terrible consequences.
This is the story of laser eye surgery, an operation that, despite being based around sight, can have unforeseeable consequences. While you're here, check out our other video about procedures that might have you thinking twice, like shaved teeth, and consider subscribing to stay updated.